Over the past 10 years, Western Australia has undergone significant changes in its demographic makeup, mainly due to the increased overseas immigration. Today on Halftime with the Footy, we look at how the West Australian Football Commission is using Australian rules to strengthen community harmony. The primary objective of the multicultural program is to use Australian rules football as a vehicle to reinforce, cross-promote and to nurture cultural understanding while developing a new fan and participation base. While the majority of immigration has come from the United Kingdom, New Zealand and South Africa, there has also been a significant amount of people coming to Western Australia from Southeast Asia, the subcontinent, West Africa and the Middle East. By learning the history, rules, skills and various aspects of Australian rules, participants in the multicultural program will find it easier to connect with the broader Australian community through a sport that is heavily ingrained in Australian culture. Paul Magumba came to Australia in the early 80s and has successfully played football in the Western Australian Football League for South Fremantle. Paul is also a very talented athlete and a premiership player in 2009.
Started playing footy at primary school. Basically when I moved over to Australia at a young age, went to a lot of different primary schools and lived in Canberra, lived in Queensland and finally moved over to WA at about the age of 11, 12. And went out on the oval and everyone was playing footy. So basically to make some friends and get involved, I knew I had to pick up this sport and started playing Aussie rules.
McGum was there, burns off his opponents and drills a goal.
There were some cultural differences and I kind of lived in what they call the third space, in that I had an African heritage but then I was also brought up in Australia at a young age, so trying to find out where I kind of fitted in was always a bit of a challenge. And as with a lot of other sports, sport is definitely the sort of thing that can bring communities together, and that's what I use.
From a football viewpoint, the Western Australian Football Commission's multicultural program provides a direct opportunity to advance the game by targeting a non-traditional market.
The basis of the multicultural program is to help grow footy, but then also to provide some community outcomes as well. So in terms of linking kids from these multicultural communities who aren't necessarily exposed to footy as much as the normal market is, teaching them about the game and getting them involved in playing, and then helping them make friends and adapt to Australian culture as well.
Magumba's on his own.
When Paul is not tearing down high marks in kicking goals for South Fremantle, he is also the Western Australian Football Commission's multicultural coordinator and is seeing firsthand what a difference the program is making.
There's what we call the sub-club development team. So today's an example of some of the guys here where we link with a few of the migrant resource centres and some of the community groups and get the kids playing and learning the basics, getting them to play a few scratchies and then linking them directly to the clubs. And one of the success stories was last year we linked about 5 players through the Kingsway Football Club in the Subiaco district. And they've actually got a few of those kids that are really pushing up through those ranks right now, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them playing in the Waffle.
You guys remember playing against Kingsway last week, right?
Yeah, hey.
Exactly.
Peter Ajang is a product of the scheme and loves the opportunity to give back what he gained from going through the program.
It actually helped me a lot, you know, because when Joe actually told me to actually coach the Edmund Rice Lions, I was like, how am I supposed to do it? I don't even know how pretty much everything about football. So I sort of like, you know, if I actually do this, it might help me with some of my skill or some of the games stuff that I need to learn about football. And Joe can help me and everybody that is actually a part of the football team. So it was really good to actually do it for the kids and the local communities.
Is it enjoyable for you when you play?
Yeah, it's really fun, you know, especially when all your teammates are like, they're like all around you, especially when you score a goal, you know, you celebrate it, and everybody come around you giving you, you know, well done and all this stuff. So yeah, it's kind of fun playing it.
The multicultural program is seeing success right across Australia.
That is magic.
Maybe one day some of these kids will be as good as West Coast Eagles' Nick Naitanui.
Can he go all the way? Nick Naitanui loads up and kicks.
or as high-flying as Paul Magumba.
Goes long to full forward, Magumba.
You don't have to be a genius to work it out in terms of, you'll see footy on the front page and the back page when the season isn't even playing, and it really dominates through WA in all walks of life. And being able to communicate and to talk about footy is a great icebreaker. It'll definitely help making friends, and it also opens up a lot of opportunities in terms of workforce and things like that. So teaching them the basics of the game and getting them to experience it. We understand that a lot of them aren't going to go on and play, but just being able to become a supporter or a fan can actually have its advantages.